Welcome to Life List, a birding podcast.
Hello, welcome everybody. This is Life List, a birding podcast. I am your co-host, George Armistead, here with Molly Brown and Alvaro Jaramillo. Guys, what's happening?
Hey there.
Hello.
I've got 2 mammal stories for you today.
Ooh.
It's been a very mammal-y day for me here. So, thought I'd tell you about it.
Yeah, lay it on us.
It's been a good migration day, too. We've been talking for a while, but I've been holding this in and not telling you my morning.
She's been sandbagging us, Alvaro.
A little bit.
Holding the waters back, the floodgates are about to open.
Yeah, I can't mount this up too much. This is now way too exciting for what happened. But I got in the car this morning. I went and looked at a spot that has been logged fairly recently to check for golden-winged warbler, actually. Did not see them or hear them. Did have blue wings singing golden-winged yesterday. But
oh, wow.
Got in the Jeep. So anyway, it hadn't been used in a while, and I sat in the car and I pulled up directions to this hotspot, and a mouse jumped off of the visor and landed right in my lap.
Oh my God.
Which surprised both of us a lot. And that's something that I've never had happen before.
Do you have a mouse phobia at all? Are you one of those?
No,
Okay.
No, I don't. But yeah, I'm a jumpy person.
Was it like a wild mouse? Like, was it a deer mouse or
it was a deer mouse.
House mouse.
So cute.
Nope,
High
not a house
cuteness
mouse.
Factor.
It was very cute.
Do you get white-footed mouse there? Or is that like more northern or southern?
Yeah,
they're both here.
Yeah, we do. So I have mice constantly on the trail cameras, and I can never identify them to species. And jumping mice too.
Oh, yeah, jumping mice. I have seen that once, which you probably see them more where you're at, Molly. But here, I think I have the only INAT record of jumping mouse.
So really?
Two species,
jumping,
right?
Yeah, I think it's field. What is it? Field or forest jumping mouse?
Woodland jumping mouse?
Woodland.
Yeah, woodland.
And meadow, right? I think the other one's meadow.
Mouse.
Yeah. So
I remember
cool.
seeing both of those in Ontario. Yeah.
I was like, there's like a little kangaroo rat here. Like, it was the middle of the day at Heinz Refuge in Philly. Really, it was one of the coolest things I've seen in the city. I was so psyched about that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, they come out on my trail camera that's kind of in the cutout in the field a lot. They hop in at night. It's really fun. So I can at least separate it to that. But yeah, and then so I kind of take breaks and go work on the garden or something in the fields or whatever now. And I've been brush hogging our paths here in the meadow. And I was doing that just before we got started on the podcast. And I have waited way too long to do this. It's a crazy time of year. Just everything is so full force, and I'm just slowly getting more and more behind on like everything in different increments. Brush hogging being one, and I've heed and hawed about going and doing any paths that are new for just weeks. And I started off on this new path, and I flushed the first fawn that I've had of the year, which still feels really early to me.
Yeah. And
it was a baby. And I was going over some big rivets and was going really slowly, thankfully, because I did not see it until it jumped up. But that was pretty fun. It feels like it's middle of June here to me. And and that is the last time I'm straying off of anything I've brush hogged. Or that I haven't brush hogged yet, because I am not hitting a fawn if I can help it.
Yeah, geez.
Yes, it's my worst nightmare from childhoods in the hayfield coming up again already.
Yeah.
Wow. I have a dead mammal story.
This is going to be a real pick me up.
Speaking
Were you brush hogging or?
No. I was running on the beach, jogging on the beach, and came up on a dead baby Guadalupe fur seal, which is a mammal that many people have never seen, and it's really, even offshore here, it can be tricky to figure them out. The northern fur seal and the Guadalupe, they really they're expanding. They're doing well population wise, as far as I know, but every so often we have die-offs of both of these species, and when it's Guadalupes that start to show up, it means that there's sort of offshore warm water somewhere way out there because they're a warmer water critter. But I was sort of weirdly proud of myself that I saw the face and I said Guadalupe fur seal, and then I had to like check the actual features and called it in because here there's folks. There's this woman Sue Pemberton that picks them up to take to the museum. You know, they do studies on them and actually keep the bones, the skulls, and so forth. And she confirmed it, so it was great. And she went to get it like within half an hour. You know, I had this confirmation of ID and the whole thing. But I've convinced myself that I can tell what they just from their head shape what they are, rather than looking at the flippers and all these other things. And yep, it was like, yeah. I mean, I think I know this head shape now, so I'm ready for
even in young
field
ones.
ID. Yeah, even in
that's
young
cool.
ones. Yeah, they're so it was cool and not cool, right? You'd rather see it out in the ocean, but still, I mean, it's part. It could be that they're dying because it was a great breeding season. That's
more around than normal.
More around. So I don't know. I'm not sure. There's some weird things going on in the ocean this year. Pelicans are showing up starving. So yeah, I'm hesitating to say it's all good news, but at least I don't know why or what is going on with them. So I'd be lying to you all. And I'm glad it wasn't, what do you call it? Brush hogging? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I've never even heard the term, so I'm like, I'm like,
I shouldn't have said that.
This is very local speak, going on here, which is good. We're learning something, folks. Everybody.
That's really funny. Well, yeah, we bought the tractor, which is just a little compact tractor, last year, and they're called rotary cutters when you go and pick them up at the John Deere dealership. But I do not call this rotary cutting. I call it brush hogging.
I have never been to a John Deere dealer myself, so it's good to learn these things, from somebody in the country. I wish, we have John Deere engines in some of the boats, actually, the pelagic boats. They become like the standard in some of the pelagic boats, weirdly enough. And you don't have to paint the whole boat green, so that's something. Yeah, I mean, how about you, George? You ever hang out at the dealer, the John Deere dealer? Because your parents have some land and stuff.
Yeah, I saw Molly your video the other day, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna have to talk to Molly about this," because we're doing this big, native conservation restoration, and probably I will have to invest in a piece. Yeah. My dad calls them bush hogs. I don't know. Maybe
I started to say that. That's a bit of a
Maybe that I'm wondering if that's like a regional dialect difference.
Some people say bush hog around here too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I have not been to a John Deere, but store. What do you factory
dealer?
Yeah, dealer. But I used to own I had for a long time I had a John Deere hat that I was quite attached to. And that was some time ago. But
I thought you were going to say one of those little tiny kid tractors, the little John Deere kid tractors, that your feet are on the bottom.
I feel like you're thinking of the Hess
green
truck.
Machine? No.
Are you thinking of the Hess truck that you get like? Oh man, the Hess truck. Where do you get that from? It's from I forget. You can get it's like a Christmas Hess truck you can get every year.
Hess truck?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about either.
See, these are new things too. I'm learning so much.
Maybe this has
been the most educational of these podcasts we've ever done.
Educational, yeah.
Well, do either of you use a riding lawnmower?
No.
Or
I don't.
Have you?
I have. Yeah.
Our yards here in California are basically the size. You could cut things with little tiny scissors, and you'd still to get it done in 2 hours. So
I guess
we have an electric lawnmower, like battery powered. lawnmower that we use here, and it's we actually have some lawn, but it takes an hour, maybe less for Hayden, for my stepson, to cut it. I do it maybe once a year. It's part of his stuff.
I have no lawn.
Well, that really decreases your equipment needs, I guess.
Yeah.
We have an electric weed eater. I don't know what you call those. We call it weed eating.
Yeah, weed eater.
Weed whacker.
Weed whacker.
Yeah.
Weed whacker.
Yeah.
Gosh.
We use Milwaukee brand for like a lot of our power tools and that kind of thing. So you can use the batteries on just a whole host of things. We have like the shop vac and the weed eater and all these things that all use the same batteries. So that's convenient. But
Alvaro used to be a real weed eater. I'll tell you. He could tell you all about that.
Yeah, when I was vegetarian, is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. That's what that phase was.
I actually was vegetarian for a couple of years. Enough.
Vegetarian.
Hard to believe. It's like a dream. Like it never really happened, but it did.
Well, what caused you to be vegetarian for a few years?
Oh, I was going to university and stuff and talking about the world, and it's like, I'm going to go vegetarian. Then, sort of that kind of thing, And
you go to Argentina for a month and you say, well.
Yeah. Maybe I'll eat just the good meats, which in a sense is what we do now. I mean, we don't eat meat. We don't buy anything that is, that's not grass fed and so on. So we pay more money for a different kind of beef.
Green meat.
Well, yeah. I mean, to some extent, California is actually locally here. We have some pretty good beef that is done well, but it's expensive. Let's put it that way. So
the breed of cattle that I grew up raising, there aren't really many in the Rockies or anything, but there are a lot of farms that have them. They're kind of a very like high producing, cold tolerant breed. And there are a lot in Northern California as well. They're called Simmentals.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I don't know that one.
Yeah, they're a Swiss breed.
Swiss?
Mm-hmm. Oh. From Switzerland.
I drove by some belted Galloways. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah.
The Oreo cows.
Some Oreo cows.
Yeah. They're kind of common here. Like right on the coast, there's a couple of farmers that have belted Galloways. So.
They're similar characteristics.
Take the head and the back and just twist them. See, just like get to the creamy middle.
No, I didn't know what you meant.
Oreo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Oh. So
yeah.
Birds,
so there's
everybody.
how about some birds, right? There's been some rarities around, There's been some cool birds of late. We've got like yellow-headed caracaras, blue rock thrushes, some wild and amazing seabirds been seen off Hatteras.
Mm-hmm.
First few Alaska sort of vagrants have been started to get reported. It was was it taiga flycatcher today?
I didn't see
taiga
that.
Flycatcher, I think, was
saw,
that, wood sandpipers and
I saw like borderline record. I think it was borderline record numbers of common snipe and wood sandpipers at St. Paul, where we are headed very soon, Al. So we got to cross our fingers that they're still there.
Well, I'm not headed there. You're headed there.
That's right. Yeah, our group is headed there. You're going to be just after that.
We'll be headed to Nome. Yeah. There's some. I mean, it's kind of been. There's been enough news that you start kind of not being able to keep up with it because it's migration. But there was also a Temminck stint in Victoria, British Columbia.
I saw that. Yeah.
Second record for Canada.
Yogi Bertrand found that.
Yeah. That was pretty neat.
That was amazing. The photos were
beautiful photos.
Yeah.
And gosh, there was something else. It was a male brambling.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, brambling in Washington, was it? And then great knot in Washington? Or was it brambling in Oregon?
Cameron Cox and Allison Enolt found that great knot in Washington. I didn't hear about the brambling. Missed that.
Yeah. It was a breeding bird, so breeding. I want to say it's in Oregon. I mean, I'm kind of pulling these things out of the top of my head. So there's kind of the Western cool birds, sort of showing up. Odd for some of these things to be in spring, usually it's fall but it might there might be some pattern here going on. I don't know.
Did you hear about what was in Cape May the day before yesterday?
There was a common swift.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did hear that one.
Josh Gant found that, got good photos of it, and then all of a sudden everybody was watching it. It basically was just kind of hurtling around back between, a fairly short stretch on the beach, so people could just kind of station themselves at a couple different spots and just see this thing. And they got some great photos of it. I don't remember how many records there are for the U.S. and Canada, but not many. And for the lower 48, very few. There's actually a report by Bob Ridgely and Louis Bouvier of an Apis swift from Philadelphia, just outside Philadelphia, very close to where I live now, about 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago. But, it's pre-digital, and they, two very experienced observers, but it's sort of one that I feel like got away a little bit. But amazing that, this bird performed so well. And I was sort of wondering if it might be a funny time of year for that bird here. Think of it more as maybe like a fall thing, but like maybe it wintered in Amazonia and it's somehow, and I don't know.
Right. Yeah, no, it's an interesting thing to think about. Like, are all spring birds that are from outside of the Americas birds that wintered somewhere and are moving north, or does something else happen sometimes where you can get them crossing over and then shooting south because it's getting too cold and they're reverse migrants? Who knows? In a sense, like so many options really without having a tag on a bird to know exactly what it does. We just guess. But I want to say something though about yellow-headed caracaras. The more that show up, the more dubious I become.
Really?
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
I know, George. I know, because they're showing up in a nonsensical pattern, like California bird.
But they're caracaras.
But well, I don't know. I mean, and the other thing is, like, they're showing up in these urban areas and so forth. And sure, like, yellow-headed caracaras will fly over and be in urban areas. But, oh man, like, have you ever seen a yellow-headed caracara sort of, I don't know. I don't see them that often. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not.
I see a lot of them in Colombia and Panama.
And are they in the city, like around garbage dumps?
I do garbage, Yeah, I think of them as sort of scavenger. They're always along like roads and like,
yeah, they're along roads and stuff. But are they Chimango caracaras will be right in the city, like looking around garbage, kind of like.
I feel like they fulfill sort of a similar niche, but
I don't know. I've always like in Argentina and Uruguay and sort of, I see yellow-headed. They're a little bit more wild, like and I wonder if that shifts, when you get farther north, when they're not adjacent to chimangos. So I might have a wrong idea of them. Let's put it that way. But the weird thing is, like, if a whole bunch of these things started showing up in Florida, just in Florida, that'd be kind of like, that's interesting. But this one in California now is sort of like, okay, that makes no sense. That's why you start thinking, okay, maybe they got here on their own, but it's ship assisted. That's what's going on.
Or maybe there was just, I don't know, too much. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, there's a number of South American birds, right, that basically as deforestation increased have marched north. That doesn't really look like the case with yellow-headed caracara, because they've always been further north than those other birds, like the cattle tyrants and the pearl kites and some of these other things that kind of have benefited from deforestation. I wouldn't have thought to put yellow-headed caracara in that group, but I suppose conceivably they are coming from northern South America.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to think about like a behavioral gradient as a clue for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think of them as more of a sort of suburban bird. Like,
I do too, with most of my experience being Colombia, Panama.
I wouldn't say urban necessarily, Al. I wouldn't say urban as much, but certainly suburban and in crappy habitat a fair amount of the time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of two specific memories I have of them. One being my best photos are in the middle of Panama City, right above a dumpster, sitting in a palm. Two, I was sitting just outside of San Jose on a Zoom meeting where I was pulled off along the road trying to multitask, doing birding in Costa Rica with working and watching one pull stuff out of a dumpster as I was on a call for a couple hours.
So then that's on habitat then for some of these, like the one that's in California is basically at a parking lot and looking around for, I don't know, In-N-Out Burger or something. I don't know where.
It is good. I mean, it's hard to argue. Yeah.
Get that fast food.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's making me hungry right now. Yeah.
The thing that does concern me is like, given how many have been, what is it, like 3 or something now? Or is it?
I thought it was more than that.
More than that? Okay.
Yeah.
So if there's more than that, why are they not in Mexico? Like, why are they not showing up in Mexico or in Cuba or Yucatan somewhere? I mean, it sort of seems to me like, it's an odd pattern, as if they're hopscotching over the areas where they're not usually found and just showing up in the northern end. So then that's why it makes me think of, maybe they're riding ships. That's what's going on.
Is there not one for Texas? I guess I had thought that there was one, but I'm not seeing one on eBird. I'm actually seeing what looks like 2 for California.
For each of those locations that you just mentioned, Alvaro, I mean, do you think that there's a chance that it's just not enough observers, or do you think at that point that they would be caught?
I guess, if you're a caracara and you're in relatively urban or suburban situations, and maybe you're more likely to be seen than a lot of other birds.
That's a good point.
They're conspicuous. They're definitely conspicuous birds. Yeah.
I'm not dead set against them. I just feel like I was sort of okay with the Florida ones, and then with this new California ones, like, this is weird now. This is weird, And I could sense some of the Californians thinking the same thing.
Let's be honest here, Al. You are pretty anti-raptor overall. You have a distinct bias against vagrant raptors. And I think we need to acknowledge that and just come to grips with it.
I wouldn't even call a caracara a raptor. They're basically they're
He's
more
really
of a funny looking parrot, really. That's gone crow on us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whether it's Gundlach hawk or a variable hawk or yellow-headed caracara, Al gives a thumbs down.
Well, with some of these, yeah. But other things I'm okay with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you pick your spots.
I mean, I would not have any hesitation over that double-toothed kite and other things like that, Black Hawks. But, yeah, I don't know. And actually, the caracara I'm fine with. It's a weird pattern. I'm kind of like, wait and see if it starts filling in more. And maybe it doesn't. Then what do you do, right? They might be the new, like the house crows, just riding ships and doing really well at it. I don't know. What if a yellow-headed caracara shows up in Hawaii? What would you do then, George?
Well,
you're so pro caracara.
I mean, I'm kind of anti-skeptic. Like, I consider myself a skeptic, but I'm kind of, when it comes to raptors, I'm generally kind of anti-skeptic. I just think they can do what they want a lot of the time. Hawaii would be a stretch. And then I think your house crow parallel might be really the only one that would make any sense. Aside from, like a cage bird trade something, but yeah.
I'm very pro-duck. I'm pro-duck.
You're very pro-duck.
Yeah, everybody says, oh, these ducks, they come from some kind of duck breeder or something. I'm like,
he's trying to cover his tracks, Molly.
I think a lot of these ducks are wild.
He might be anti-hawk, but he is pro-duck. Make no mistake, folks.
Duck.
Yeah. I found that interesting. That story continues to develop, and we shall see how that goes.
We got to get one like in West Virginia, like away from all of these big urban or ports or something, Like,
yeah, that'll answer all our questions.
That'll answer all the questions.
Molly, you need to go get the first record for West Virginia.
Boy, I get a lot of requests from this podcast to find things that I hate to tell you I'm not delivering on. I'll tell you what, I was looking, so I have friends coming from generally the DC area this weekend. And I was just looking at eBird records and how they compare for migration so far from kind of DC to the Mississippi River. I mean, that sort of thing. And I am just surprised all over again with the lack of reporting outside of the population centers up the eastern seaboard. It is crazy because I know that does not reflect the number of birds that are passing through these different parts of the Mississippi Flyway, but man, there are a lot more eBirders in the greater DC area than West Virginia, I would say.
That kind of makes me reminds me of like I haven't used what's it called, Birdcast? Yeah, I mean that much. And this year I've been looking at it a little bit more, and specifically the county level where it tells you what's happening today. And then there's this little chart that has the average number of birds that go through every spring in your region, and then it tracks how many have gone through thus far. And consistently I've been seeing in like at least around here in California that we're only like about half of what we should be in terms of the birds that have moved through. And I was thinking, like, is that something that's reliable, or is the data sparse enough that it's just sort of like don't worry about it because it's not reliable data, the long-term trends? But I was like, that's a lot of birds missing or that haven't come through yet.
Half for what is expected to pass through over the year, or half up until this point compared to the average?
Yeah, like they have a kind of a accumulation curve, of the birds, more and more of them going through in the spring migration and so forth. And thus far this year, it hasn't even reached like 3/4, it seemed, of the birds. So like it's tracking lower, as if maybe we're going to get a big late push, and then it could suddenly go up, and then we'd be all back in sync, or maybe not. But then I'm like, well, if the birds aren't here, does that just mean it's fudge? The data is kind of wobbling and, don't worry about it. Or is it actually a true, like there's not that many birds here this year? I was like, but it kind of troubled me.
Good questions.
I don't know. But it might
kind of separates by county level there, doesn't it? Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It could be that maybe the fewer eBirders this year, or more or less or something, could be that's part of it. I don't know. But I guess it's not eBird, right? It's just the radar data that's
just
as far
as I know.
I'm going to have to see how that goes. I'll report back at the end of this migration season, see if we're back up to normal.
I think this is good. We could all just sit and look at our respective areas on Birdcast and eBird and talk about it for a whole episode, and that'd be pretty fascinating.
Yeah, and even how to use Birdcast, because
that'd be cool.
That would be interesting too, because I don't quite know how to really use it. Or, gosh, even iNaturalist, boy, there's a lot of things that iNaturalist can do that I'm not even like, getting a real grip on yet. That's sort of how to do all that. We should do a little how-to with one of these different. How about that, folks? Let us know if you want us to do that. We'll get deep into these things, but not that deep, because there's only so much we can do.
We'll be learning as we go too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't know if you've seen, North Carolina has also had some good birds lately. basically each of the
Seabirds.
exactly. Each of the last 3 days, Brian Patterson, Kate Sutherland, and the gang, Daniel Irons, the Seabirding gang, have had basically they get their black-cap petrels out there, which is kind of their bread and butter bird. But they've had 3 other pterodromas, each different species, the last 3 days. With yesterday a beautiful Trinidad petrel, and then day before that was Fayas, and day before that was a Cahao, Bermuda petrel, which looks like the best one they've had in quite a while, a really, really nice one. And I think one of the other cool things, apart from the seabirds, is that Daniel Irons has pretty much shown now that black-whiskered vireo is annual on the coast of North Carolina, which is something that would have been unthinkable even just a few years ago. But he's finding them out there every year. Just found another one that was actually singing. So that is pretty amazing.
Yeah, interesting. Hey, Bermuda petrel's the official name, right, in the AOS area, but everybody calls it Cahao.
Much better name, right? Such a cool name.
So like, what's needed just to do that? To make it official, because it seems like
right. It's widespread, and it's. Remember, you were talking on one of the pods, Al, about how skua is a really good word to yell, and it's much more fun to yell skua.
Yeah.
That it's like, it was really funny, like skua. It's like
right.
Like to yell Cahao was something that one dreams about.
Right.
and would be way more fun than yelling Bermuda petrel.
Bermuda petrel. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it should be done. We should make it happen, or we should just, just forget that Bermuda petrel's not a bad name itself, but Cahao is just an awesome name.
Yeah. Yeah. We should definitely make that official. Cahao.
That and Alcatero and Candelita. Those are 3 that I would love to see changed. Alcatero for olive warbler and Candelita for American redstart.
One thing a problem I had with Alcatero was that nobody's ever been that I've asked does anybody use that name in the area where it is found? Is it a local name or is it an invented name?
Oh, I assumed that there was some part of Mexico where that was the name.
I don't think so. I think it was an invented name. And then I'm like, okay, well.
Yeah, then that would be
that'd be sort of weird to me, especially depending like who invented it. Like I'd want to get further into it. It's like, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some place, people love the name, but
it is.
And it is a nice name, but I'm like, okay, but where did this come from? I want to know.
I bet we've got some listeners who are going to fill us in on that too.
Mm-hmm.
And which one's the Candelita?
American redstart.
Oh, because I thought some countries use it for any warbler.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was the male American redstart sort of flickering away like a flame, or maybe the females too, with the sort of doing their fantail thing as they presumably are trying to startle bugs and whatnot.
Yeah. I have to look because there's multiple names for general words for warbler, but I thought Candelita was one that was used in certain countries for any warbler. But yeah,
Kristen calls it the Halloween warbler.
Halloween warbler. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's that dragonfly, the Halloween pennant.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. It's got the orange and black. Yeah. Halloween warbler.
Molly, I understand, speaking of bugs, cool bugs, I understand you had a good one lately.
Yeah, I just realized that this is the first county record for a harvester that I had yesterday while I was out along the Cheat River here, checking out a wildlife management area that I hadn't been to. And I was super excited to find it and log it. I didn't have a camera on me or anything, but I actually got, which makes me very nervous when I'm chasing a butterfly with my phone. But got photos of it, and that was really, nice. Really fun. Yeah.
You say you should record its call. That's another way to.
Yeah.
So this is a harvester, the bug, not the one you get at the John Deere dealership.
Correct.
So I've never seen one of those, but I've
They're
read
super
about them
pretty.
enough that I really want to see them because of its cool nature, of
the behavior.
Yeah.
the behavior of the larvae being carnivorous.
The only carnivorous butterfly in North America.
Wow.
Yeah,
Are there
caterpillars are strictly carnivorous.
Are there others anywhere else, I wonder?
There
Maybe, like
there are
carnivorous
moths. There's a I think it's a blue. Yeah, here it is. It's a blue or an azure, the cherry gull azure. Some people think feeds on galls, like the insect masses in plants.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the harvester feeds on the larvae of aphids in particular.
Aphids or ants?
I think the adults feed off of secretions
of
aphids.
Yes.
And I thought it was that the harvester larvae create a chemical signal that makes them, or it's not, I don't know. Yeah, it's a little larvae that mimic one of the ants, and then the ants take it back to the nest, and then it pretends to be an ant by smelling like one, and then it eats them. Is that not what it do? I mean, I'm just pulling this out of my memory bank. So, and I've always wondered about the name too. If the harvester was because it harvests the ants, or if it's got nothing to do with the ant thing, but it's just maybe it comes out at a certain time where it's like harvest season. But it's a unique butterfly that I've always kind of wanted to see and never have, and we don't have them in the West as far as I know. So I'm done. No way to see it ever.
Vagrant. You got to get a vagrant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think that it's actually for protection from ants that they're looking for as they're disguising themselves with the scent of aphids that are beneficial to the ants. So they're avoiding predatory ants while eating the aphids.
Oh. And
I'll post links to more valid information that is not what we're discussing on the spot.
That's right, because but the stories we made up are actually way more interesting than the truth. I got to say, we could just
fake news.
Fake news, but this is how it happens, right? You start up these rumors, and then before you know it,
it really is. Yep. Very niche.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. I've been talking about butterflies a lot and filling them in, but yeah, I'm checking out all sorts of new areas that are a little confusing in this area that I'm living in because it's kind of hard to tell what's public access and that sort of thing, but I've been picking it apart and exploring a lot of new trails and places to me, and that's been fantastic.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. Staying busy over here.
Yeah. One thing I was excited about just recently is this little this paper that came out on completely. It's not butterflies. It's but another animal that likes flowers. It's a hummingbird, giant hummingbird.
They like tobacco plants. Yeah,
I know. And if you had to compare the giant hummingbird to a bird that makes sense to you, because they don't look like hummingbirds. They kind of look like this crazy swift flying overhead, which is interesting because hummingbirds are related to some extent to swifts. But Jesse Williamson and a host of other authors wrote this paper about the giant hummingbird in South America and found that the two populations, one of them that is resident in the north and in the Andes, of the north, so Ecuador, well, kind of Peru all the way up, to Ecuador and so forth. They are one thing. And then the ones that are breeding in Chile that are migratory, and nobody really knew where they went. They just disappeared. They weren't there in winter. They are a different species based on genomic data. But the weird thing is that there's always been two names for these. So one of them had, a different subspecies name in the north, and the southern one had a different subspecies. So that seemed like, okay, we're going to split the species. But what they did is they took the genomes of the type group of it's not just a specimen, it's a group of individuals. They took the genes from those and see where they fit into for the northern population, and it's a mix of the northerns and the southerns. So in a sense, what they're suggesting is that it's such a mess and that you can't quite tell what the name is attached to, that they described a new name for it. So then in a sense, it becomes a new description of a species. And I'm going to say that this is going to get muddy, and there will have to be these experts, these robed people, with funny hats, almost like those French.
You got to have a funny hat.
Funny hat or one of those wigs, like the British, lawyers have,
wigs.
Kind of thing with the funny wigs, and they're going to have to figure out what the proper name will be, and it's going to be based on the International Code of Zoological Nomenclature, also known as the Code. So the code busters are going to have to come in and figure out how to sort through this, because to me it's like, I don't know what to say. I have no idea. Like, there are two names, so can't you just leave that as it is? Or the fact that the type specimens had both types muddies things up, that you have to create a new name. Like da-na-na-na, the rogue people with the funny hats and wigs are going to have to come in and solve this. But for the birder, you now have two giant hummingbirds. So that the two species, that's the basic part. And I don't know what they're going to call them, giant and huge hummingbird.
Yeah, I was going to say, birders are going to want to know which one's bigger.
Yeah, true, right? Yeah. A good point.
Yeah. That's almost like, isn't it the Guatemalans say, our quetzal is bigger than the one in Costa Rica, and it's like, well, it's the same quetzal. Oh, but if you measure them, ours are bigger. It's like
longer tails.
Yeah, longer tails,
longer tail coverts. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is really the most resplendent quetzal. Yeah.
Giant hummingbird is a great one. I think that should be a quest bird for anybody that can make it to South America. They are pretty wild looking. As you say, they don't really look like hummingbirds. I think of them as like, you see them on like mountain roadsides with tree tobacco, the yellow blossom tree tobacco. That's what I remember from Argentina. I don't think I've seen them outside of Argentina, but cool bird.
But the tiniest hummingbird in the world, Molly, that's another whole gem of a bird.
It is. Yeah.
Which
although Vervain is pretty close, as I
recall.
But if you see this one, it's easily visible as the tiniest bird.
I've seen it, but I just,
doesn't matter if you've seen them on different islands and haven't. You don't need any comparison. This one you've got to see.
That's right. You see these and you start putting on bug spray because they're so small. You think, oh no, it's a bird. It's not a bug.
I kind of wish snowcap was smaller. Snowcap is. And it's a really small hummingbird. I mean, it's. I was going to say up there. It's down there in terms of size. Like it's.
Molly, what does George have against Cuban bee hummingbird? That
I don't know.
All the other ones to be small.
I don't know,
what's
George.
Going on?
Did you know that you can get a beer from the house where you go to see these hummingbirds and sit with the feeder?
I do know that, and I have done that, and I would recommend. I recommend anybody to do that very, very thing.
Oh my God.
I mean, bee hummingbird is a great name as well. Hopefully, they don't figure out that there's two of those and split them and rename them, and then we'd have two that are the same size.
B and C hummingbird, right? Oh, gosh.
Heavens!
I think we're hitting our stride with this podcast, guys.
You think so? almost to the end of season 4 here, guys. We're coming up. We're wrapping up season 4 here.
Yeah. This is our round table to close it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, if you are new to this or, want to know about the podcast when they're coming out, you can subscribe to the podcast. So make sure you do that. And I guess it varies depending on which platform you're using, and then tell your friends, please tell your friends to listen, and then they will obviously be hooked right away.
Mm-hmm. I would also remind folks that we do have the newsletter, the Lifeless newsletter, which is a good way of staying on top of some of the stuff we're doing. We are just beginning to talk about what the next Lifeless event will be, and I guess we're really at the initial stages here. So we will just let folks know that we are in the planning stages of another Lifeless event. So we hope you will consider that. That will probably get its first mention in our newsletter. So check that out. You can find it and subscribe by going to our site, and you'll see where to sign up. It's got, in addition to sort of event stuff, it's got articles that we think are interesting and fascinating, and a bunch of other stuff as well. And it's comes out twice a month. So that's all, not more than that. We don't want to overstay our welcome, but it is it's been a fun thing for us, and we thank everybody that's been subscribing, and hope those that haven't will give it a look.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't see groups of articles and facts put together elsewhere like we do in the newsletter. So that's why we have it, right? Because we didn't see this kind of information otherwise.
And on the newsletter, the facts are real, as opposed to here where we just make stuff up.
Yes.
It's just like
great point.
Yeah. So actually just read the newsletter. Don't listen to this.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and in it, I hope the next one, or maybe not the next one of the next ones will feature a link where you can go listen to Molly at the Bird Banter podcast. Ooh. Right?
Oh, yeah.
There
we go.
You can, and each of us have now appeared on that with our friend Ed Pullen, who does a great job on that podcast. So that is well worth a listen.
All right. Speaking of making things up, I have a question for both of you.
Oh.
Do you remember why we named this podcast Lifeless? Because I've been asked by a few folks recently.
I have thoughts.
Oh boy, strap yourself.
I don't know. Maybe George should go first. Let's see my thoughts.
Well, I think my recollection was we had a variety of names, and a number of my friends in the area here, we still talk about one of them where it was, "Have you seen the eagle?" Was one of the ideas we thought about. But then, Alvaro, you pointed out that there's actually a good part of the country where eagles are actually really rare. And if you say, "Have you seen the eagle?" people would be like, "Oh my God, there's an eagle." Whereas around here, that's like the question we get a lot from any passerby. Is like, "You seen the eagle?" And we're like, "Yes, we've seen 12 of them. Thank you very much. But can you tell your friends to stop asking us?"
I had to come up with a logical reason, with the Western, but the fact is
Western bias.
Yeah. Right. I just thought that was like not a good name.
Yeah.
I just had to, I'll come out now.
Yeah.
I'll come out now and say it because it's been years and that's all, water under the bridge.
We're going to come out with a t-shirt that says "Lifeless, a birding podcast." And then below that it'll say, "Have you seen the eagle?" ?
Right. Yeah. And those would be the real fans, that have like the
real
wacky, ones. It's almost like, the fans that go to a ball game or a hockey game with the old jersey from way back, and then they're super cool,
You are hitting me where I live, Al. I just ordered a throwback Phillies jersey that I am very excited about. Very excited about. Yep. But anyway, we'll save that. We'll save that for another time. I spent way too much money on it, but I've been wanting it for years, and so I was like, you know what? I'm doing it.
Doing it.
Yeah. But yeah, you talk about Lifeless to Birding podcast. How did we come up with that name? I have my thoughts, but I'm curious.
I think I'm not sure how it came up, but the idea that the life list is something that is so much of birding culture, like
sort
it's just
fundamental
like the listing, whether you are an e-birder and you don't care about your list or you are a lister, or you always sort of have a running tally in your head about the birds you see. But I thought it was sort of a play on word thing too, of like life, of birding as a lifestyle, as a kind of way to be. So it wasn't just like life list as the listing. For me, it was like lists as like stories, and the life of your stories as a birder. That's how I thought about it.
That's how I
So
think
that's
about it.
yeah, yeah. So
It is
the
funny because
multiple views.
Yeah, because none of us are really like hardcore listers. Like all of us like to list, right? All of us like an eBird list. You know, we like to
Data collection.
yeah, exactly. We like the census. We like to
With a
be a data
novelty,
point. Yeah.
or just seeing new things is cool, but it could be anything really. I mean, it could be a plumage for me,
Yeah.
rather than yeah,
Or life vocalizations, life plumages. Yeah.
like butterflies.
Life butterflies. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was kind of the way I remembered it, was that we were like, this is something that every birder has heard of, and even non-birders that know about birding often know about the life list. They'll be like, you keep one of those lists, you know?
right.
Yeah,
You know?
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was kind of organic once we kind of, how about life list, then we did sort of go through this, all the different things it kind of meant. um and I think sometimes when people ask about it, is they think that we were going to be talking about listing, and then we don't often.
And then we talk
Although,
about tractors for 15 minutes.
tractors.
Then they get the idea.
They get the idea. Yeah. Yeah. But I think that's the part that is the life list, is sort of our life as birders, and other lives that are birding lives are sort of like the life list.
Yeah. Well, I think of my eBird account in many ways as like a diary, like that's because I'm not a good kind of bookkeeper otherwise. That is a place where I can be like, oh, wow, look at this list from 15 or 20 years ago, and look who I was with, and look at what we saw. And I remember we saw that, but I didn't remember we saw that. And,
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how specific my memory can be for pulling up an eBird checklist from something.
Yeah.
And yet I can't remember a lot of things throughout my daily life.
I'm going to use that next time when a reviewer says, I mean, are you really sure you saw this? And then I'm gonna like, don't tell me what I can or cannot put in my diary, okay?
Yeah.
These are my thoughts and reflections.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need you to tell me what to think. Just joking. Yeah. Come on. I'm a reviewer myself.
I actually do use it a little bit these days as a bit of a journal. In checklist notes, I have the habit now of like I put personal notes in that of like 1 or 2 sentences of what I was doing or something else that piqued my interest. And as I started going back and looking at older checklists or how those have built up over the years, I decided I wanted a little more context. So I actually do that a little bit in that feature.
Yeah, I've actually known multiple people that have started doing that. Especially, they sort of start with, oh, I want to note down the butterflies and mammals I might have seen during that time. Then they start
exactly.
kind of other things that happened, or even like I've heard of people saying, oh, found a really great place to eat around the corner from so they put it on the notes just so that they can remember, in a sense, because where else are you going to put that? Yeah. And your mind goes back to that list. Oh, I went to eat at that place when I was whatever, and I saw the hooded warbler. So then you kind of can find it. It's
particularly for those like incidental checklists that you put in too. And you remember why you logged that there.
Right. Have you noticed that incidental checklists, like if you were to just like randomly look up all of your incidental checklists, they probably have mostly raptors on them, like, or big things. It's weird. Like we don't do an incidental thing for like, oh, a flock of waxwings went over, but a harrier or something flying over someplace, saying, "Oh, gotta put that," or peregrine falcon on the highway. Oh,
right.
Yeah, I've had that. I think Josh Coville asked me about it the first time. This was years ago, and I've thought about it since. Are there any birds where you've pretty much logged every single time you've seen it? If it's that sort of incidental thing, which generally lends itself to raptors.
Yeah,
that's been red-headed woodpeckers for me lately, though. So
yeah,
I have some non. Yeah, I've just they're a lot out here, and it's kind of a new thing for me to have as a common bird. So I pulled over yesterday to log a red-headed woodpecker crossing the road.
Love those things.
Me too. Wow. Yeah, so it's kind of just my fascination in any moment as well, that maybe ebbs and flows a bit.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see like what is not a raptor that I log as an incidental, Well, yellow-billed magpie, that's one. Like, because often if you're driving through, your long distance drive through California, there are places where you might see them flying by, but you're not necessarily going to stop and look at them. But you feel like, oh, endemic bird to the state, I must log this somehow. It's like.
I have another. I log turkeys just about any time I see them. It's another non-raptor for me.
Nice turkey. We are just sort of getting turkeys here, because they were introduced.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that. Yeah,
and they're really filling in this county. And yesterday I was birding, and I heard this weird piping call, and this grass moving, and this female turkey came out, and I was like, wow. I'd never. I'm not turkeyed up to know what that. I wouldn't have known that call
you're turkeyed
at all.
Up, all right.
So, but I was like, wow, learned a new thing, and recorded this turkey call, and it must have been like leading me away from the nest because it was acting weird, piping. But yeah,
it's really cool.
My dad does one of the best turkey imitations you'll ever hear. At some point, I'll record it and put it on the pod here.
Yeah.
Guys, we're coming up on the hour here. We got to scoot. I know, what? Molly, you got to run.
Oh, yeah. Man, time has flown.
Yes, indeed. Before we do go, I wanted to remind folks that we are really thankful to be working with Koa Sporting Optics. And to check out koaoptics.com, you won't find a better scope anywhere. They've got a range of different ones. Good binoculars, great accessories as well that, you can do if you're into digiscoping and so forth. Koa's got a bunch of good stuff, so definitely give them a check out. And anything, Alvaro, you got coming up you want folks to know about?
Molly's Cuba trip in December. We have people already signed up, so
Sweet.
Join the party to see the smallest hummingbird in the world. And George is not going to change that no matter how much you argue or what have you. And who knows, maybe a yellow-headed caracara will show up over there too.
There you go.
And we, with George too, our subantarctic trip to New Zealand and Australia's subantarctic waters, there are some cabins left. So, but not many. So if you are sort of been thinking, maybe this is it, got to go for it now. Tell us you want to go, and we'll make it happen.
Yes,
and make it fun.
Yeah, cool. Molly, how about you?
Yeah, well, I actually have a ton of tours that are going to be open or are open right now. At least a ton to me. I don't know how this happened, but I've got a few spots on both of my Columbia tours next February. My West Virginia tour is up on the Hillstar site. Cuba is open on Alvaro's site. And we'll be announcing a few more tours by season 5, I'd say. So lots to check out there. Yeah. Otherwise, that's my tour hat. My Nighthawk agency hat is filling up for the summer and working on a couple websites and a lot of fun projects that are kind of unique. So you can check out Nighthawk Agency if you're curious what I do with birding organizations on the business front.
Excellent.
Yeah. How about you, George?
Yeah, I'm getting more and more into the land management stuff and the native plant stuff, and we'll talk more about that later, I'm sure. But yeah, for tours, the ones you guys mentioned, and also I have one spot now on my Tanzania tour, the Ultimate Safari, coming up next year in late March and April. And we also have one spot left on our Mongolia Rare Cats trip, where we go for rare cats. We see a bunch of birds and other mammals as well with Adam Wallane. So hope folks will check that out.
Before we close out, this is our last roundtable episode, but we do have one more episode that, George, maybe you want to talk about a little bit that we're going to use to round out this season.
Yeah, we have a conversation with our friend Tom Johnson that we recorded about a month before we lost him. And we were going to release it soon after that, and then everything changed. And we've been kind of thinking about what we want to do with that, and we're to a point now where we thought it would be nice to share it with people, and that people that might get to that didn't know Tom or did know him might get to hear his voice again or learn something about this person they've heard a lot about.
We were also, at Tom's memorial, and we saw a lot of people we hadn't seen for a while, and a lot of friends of Tom's, and there was so much recollection and remembrance and stories that we thought too, maybe it'd be a nice thing for this episode to air for, all of those who knew him, and like you said, all of those that might have not gotten to meet him, but then you will understand what Tom was all about, just from a little bit, at least, from this episode.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to sharing that with everybody. And with that, we will say thanks for listening, and we will see you around soon. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.